Whoa, what's up, y'all? This is for, hey, I'm sure this is lunch for a lot of y'all. What's up, it's your man Rico? Rico, the opinionist was good. Y'all like my t-shirt? Black mental health matters. This is part of my line I'm always working on. I'm always trying new things, new sayings with my t-shirts, and always trying to convey the message of how important mental illness, the treatment of mental illness is. Let's see. I hope my lighting is good. Let me see. I'll make sure. Yeah, it's okay. Let me know if my lighting is good. And again, I want to welcome you to my page. What's up? Rico the Opinionist, Facebook, as well as Rico the Opinionist, YouTube. Thank you so much to those of you who continue to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for the new follower I received here on Facebook. And I need about 200 more of you on my Facebook page so we can get this thing continue to pop. And on my YouTube channel, need about another 100 or two of you on there. We podcast. I'm here to tell you. But I want it to be a homegrown podcast. I brought on. I don't need any kind of mechanisms to try to bring it on. I want it to be homegrown. I want it to be us talking. I don't care if you don't agree with me. That's not how stuff works. Those you agree and disagree, it depends on how you disagree is where I kind of chime in. Well, anyway, what else? Any house cleaning that people like to do? I'm gonna let some of you come in before I get to this, because I don't want to hold you. But let's have this little chat and chew. I'll chat while you all chew, because I know this is lunchtime for a lot of you. And please, while you're at it, share this live. Share this live. Go ahead and start sharing it. Sharing it. If you listen to the playback, share the video. On both here on Facebook as well on YouTube, because this is the message that I want us to really understand as a community, particularly, especially the Black community. And I want to show y'all something. This week, a young man by the name of Ezekiel Kelly. Y'all remember him? In my hometown. Shout out to my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. Love you more than cook food, especially 38108 zip code, North Memphis, you dig? That's where I grew up. I grew up in North Memphis, Tennessee. I even fought and cussed and screamed about my zip code, 38108. And it's something special about that zip code, 38108, in my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. And whenever I come home, I always make sure I drive through there and look up whatever's left of Tommy's Barbecue and the fish market and all up and down Hollywood. Shout out to Hollywood. Shout out to Springdale. Shout out to Shannon Street, Devoy, Richard Street, Albany, Alameda, Howell, Hunter Street, Dexter, Vandalia. Shout out to Standridge. Shout out to the old Goodwill Village. Shout out to Hyde Park. Keep going. Shout out to Douglas. North Memphis, 38108. Come on. Shout out to the Kentucky Fried Chicken across from the AutoZone of Jackson. Yeah, what's that? The Jack Purtles up there too. That's my hometown, the home of blues, soul. I guess rock and roll. It's definitely gospel heavy. The home of barbecue. Texas be playing that game, but look, I've been here 18 years now, and they still don't have any good barbecue. It's tolerable, but it's not good barbecue. Memphis has great barbecue. And it's not just in the restaurants. You can go in somebody's front yard on the 4th of July, or they just barbecue because they want to, and taste some of the best smoked and wet barbecue. Folks here, they like the smoky stuff here. They don't, and then they'll give you a side where you can dip your meat into the barbecue sauce. See, Memphis, we dip. We dip the barbecue in my hometown. And the potato salad in my hometown, the soul food. Shout out to the old Willie Moores and the Alcinians and all of them. Abyssinians, I'm sorry. Alcinians, yeah. And the other soul food restaurants, shout out to Cozy Corner. Just all of the cool stuff, Yeah, my hometown has a lot of charm to it. But most recently, among other things that's going on, they're trying to get into politics and all that stuff, but they'll never get it right. Somehow my hometown never get politics right. Always voting in the same old people, the wrong people. And then those same old people try to run from one office to the next. The same old faces. It is what it is. But most recently, the young man. Y'all remember the young man who did that shooting spree across Memphis and went. I think he made it to South Haven a little bit, but had people on a tear. We watched on the news as he rode by on Facebook or Instagram where he was screaming and yelling and yeah, my people got me messed up, and all of that. And he was. It was very apparent that he was under the influence of some heavy drug, and it turns out, yeah, what we saw was true. He was under heavy drugs. And so they stuffed him in a police car, and of course people went in because he walked in an AutoZone and shot that man, and a couple of carjacked the car. He did the fool. And so this week when people saw him on TV, he looked completely different than he did when he was that wild man almost 3 years ago, going on that drug-induced wild man. And he was sentenced to over 300 years, about 321 or 371. He was given hell. I think he's gonna be in jail longer than Count Dracula been roaming the earth. And it's always concerning. I'll say that. And I've been reading the comments and all of that, but I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But what I want to share with y'all today is my thoughts on that. But I want to share with you, when this was going on almost 3 years ago, I write, and a lot of stuff I write, I don't put it on social media because I write my thoughts down. I write newsletters. I write thoughts, and you're more than welcome to my thoughts. I have a newsletter that I started in college back in 92, 93. It was called In My Opinion by Rico Rivers. Shout out to my beloved Grambling State University. And I started my newsletter because the school newspaper stopped accepting my submissions for, at Grambling State University, like all colleges, you have a school newspaper. And what we had was something so wonderful called, it's the op-ed and opinions, where students were allowed to send in their articles and they would publish their opinions about different art topics. And I would submit mine, but somehow mine garnered the most attention because my opinions weren't loud. They weren't general. They were very specific, and I didn't have a problem with naming who I was talking about. And so it just blew up. It even became more popular than the school newspaper. When people pick up the newspaper, they would look for my article, my opinion, and then the editor at that time, his name is Reginald Owens. I think he was given a directive from administration to stop accepting my articles. Yeah, because I heard him talking about me, but I interrupted before I let him finish his complete thoughts. He was saying, "This Rico Rivers, I don't know who that is," but not having to walk in the door. And I said, because I was walking in to submit an article. He told me, "Look, can you wait about a couple of weeks before you submit your next article?" I said, "But this is a page for all the students." Yeah, but can you wait so I came back 2 weeks. Then he said, "Well, can you wait another week or two or something?" So I came back and he told me, "Well, we're just not accepting submissions from you at this time." And so as a tuition paying student, Reginald Owens refused to accept my submissions to get on the opinion page. And it was something that anybody could do. It's almost like when you're in a classroom and the teacher poses a question and you know the answer, you keep raising your hand up because no one else would raise their hands. And then the teacher would say, because they get tired of you having all the answers, well, can you let someone else answer? What do you mean? No one else is raising their damn hands. So I always thought that to be weird. So for me, it sounds like when teachers do that to a student, they raise their hand because they know the answer, they did the work, they prepared, but you don't want to call on them because they always raise their hand. That's a personal thing with you. And it took me a while to understand that it wasn't me that I was submitting, because everybody was submitting, but he didn't want my opinion. And he really suppressed my right as a student, my free speech. Yeah. Yes, y'all, boy, y'all know Dr. Reginald Owens. Yeah, fuck off. And so I still continue to write. After I graduated from college, I still continue to write. And so today, I have them. Matter of fact, let me show y'all something. I have them. Here it is. It's called In My Opinion by Rico the Opinionist. But I'm going to show y'all something. I don't know how I got on this topic, but hold on one second, y'all. All right. Over the years, I have folders of opinions that I've just written. Just folders. I have a whole notebook of opinions. Just tons of articles, opinions that I've had about various topics over the years. And I just stick them in here. Maybe one day I'll publish them in a book, or if y'all want to hear it, you can always ask for a copy. Here's the second one. I had to buy this because that one filled up. And it's right here, just tons of them. I've had all kinds of topics that I've written about over the years. And so when this Ezekiel Kelly thing happened, I wrote it down, and I just because I like to keep my thoughts somewhere. I have a blog, but I like writing it down. It's the process of writing it, putting it together, and all that. So. Here's the one I wrote on September 9, 2022, when the Ezekiel Kelly situation occurred. And I also put, y'all remember those pictures of him? This picture here especially. He's in the backseat of the car looking like that. They did a picture of him, how he was, I guess, looking then before the drugs got a hold of him. And people, they thought it was funny, and they looked and said, look at this great ass. And so I wrote this article. And after checking out the news and him receiving that over 300-year sentence, and him reading his apology letter to the family, and him looking like a completely different young man, clean and sober. I want to read to y'all, if I may, what I wrote 3 years ago, because I read the comments what people were saying about him, and the family and everybody who lost loved ones in their day were justified in that. But but it all boils down to this. I had to get my good glasses to put these on so I can read it to y'all. Yeah, what's up? Y'all look a lot clearer now. I want to read this article that I wrote. In My Opinion by Rico Rivers. It says the title of it is "So Black Memphis, Black America." And in bold letters it says, "Look at the two pictures. They are the same young man. Are we now ready to have an actual discussion about the current state of mental health of many young black males in the city, across America? Are we now ready to speak on the emotional neglect and mental and sexual abuse of black boys in the city, across America? Are we now ready to discuss how untreated bad mental health often sometimes leads to drug abuse and addiction? Why is it that the mental stability and social welfare of black males seem to only take center stage after one of them has committed a horrendous crime, such as the young man in the photos? I understand that the world hates the black male. It's about the removal of the black male in order to continue to attack and dismantle the main defense system against all outside aggressive forces, which is the heterosexual natural family unit with the man as the head of the household. However, what I can't wrap my head around is the black race's hatred of black boys and black men. Let me repeat that. What I can't seem to wrap my head around is the black race's hatred of black boys and black men. I hope you all are aware that the young men who are strung out on drugs that the young men are usually strung out on drugs because of untreated anger, depression, PTSD, schizophrenia, etc. They come from our race. This young lost soul is a product of us. Why don't too many people in our race see the importance of investing love, affection, protection, money, most of all, humanity into male children? I guess this sounds too much like right. How do we expect for black boys to grow up to be strong and confident, competent, self-assured, heterosexual masculine men and leaders if we don't nurture these qualities and characteristics in them as children? Yes, what he did was terrible. Lives were taken as he committed his crime. Trust me, the criminal justice system will deal with him accordingly. However, in the meantime, when we get through with wishing him a long prison sentence and a death penalty, I hope black Memphis and black America will finally begin to take a look at the many factors in our race that produces young black men like this. I hope a change in the way in which we view our boys will come about. I hope that we will petition the city of Memphis, Shelby County, the state of Tennessee, and the federal government for much needed funding to put in place preventive measures that will begin the process of decreasing the chances of present and black boys growing up and turning out to be like this young man, among many others. And in bold black letters, I put here. All right, in bold black letters, I wrote, black male children deserve better. Black male children deserve better than to be unprotected, neglected, disregarded, discarded, and abandoned in childhood, only to grow up to be the feared, hated, and labeled the boogeyman in our society. I wrote this 3.5 years ago, and I feel the same way today after he was sentenced to 300 years. You know, and I was like, well, damn. And because I don't want to mistakenly or unknowingly or indirectly minimize the pain of the pain that was suffered or will continue to be suffered by the families of his victims. But that's a lot of other stuff I pay attention to. And some of you might start getting mad if you ain't mad about what I just wrote or read. And by the way, if you'd like a copy of this newsletter, if you'd like a copy of any of my newsletters, just hit me up on my Cash App, my PayPal, and my Venmo. Just send $5. I'll send you 3 for $5. My Cash App, my Venmo, my PayPal are all on this Facebook page, as well as in the description box on this YouTube channel. So if you like a copy, and should you decide to want these copies, please send me an email address and put it in the description box or whatever on your PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App. $ Rico Rivers MSW, and it's Rico Rivers MSW for all of them. If you like a copy of any of my newsletters, so just be, if you're curious about what I think about particular topics, and I continue to write, and I just stick them in my folder. But when are we gonna take responsibility? Black America, black people. I'm talking to us. When are we gonna take responsibility for the nurturing of the young men that we complain about today? Because they do come from black women's vaginas. They come from the nut sacks of black men. So that means they come from us. Now, we can yell racism, white supremacy all day long, but you still raising them. That black boy, that young black man came from some black vagina. And he had a black father. And I know, well, when they get 18, they responsible for their own choices. Well, they have to, but 18 is just, or age is just a year that comes automatically. But you have to plant seeds into, you have to water the seeds that you plant. There it is. If you're not watering the plants or watering the seed that you planted, well, they're just going to grow up all, withery, and they're not going to grow up healthy. And my hometown has it bad. A lot of urban areas across the country, urban cities that's majority black, or neighborhoods, communities that's majority black, we seem to have this problem. Please don't tell me what white folks do. I read statistics just like y'all do. They ain't shit either. But that's not my community. You're my community. When are we going to start doing the stuff that's, to me, is simple, but seems to be very difficult? When are we going to start raising our boys, rearing them? Y'all messed around and let white liberal feminists tell y'all that girls are more important than boys. And so all this funding and all of the love and affection and encouragement and building confident girls and independent girls. Well, what the fuck is a woman going to lead? When a girl grows up, what's she going to lead? She's going to lead you to shopping. She's going to lead you to a hair store, nail shop. Yeah, I know. Come on, feminists. Oh my God, it's so sexist and misogynistic. Shut up, bitch. Because if you don't understand the natural order of things, you have to pour into boys so they can grow up to the men that you say they're not here to marry your daughters. If there are not men here to marry your daughters, who do you blame, sir, ma'am? You have to love, nourish, encourage, and protect black boys as if they're the most precious cargo that you've ever had in your life. But you don't. Then when it turn out like this, and this is the part that makes me sick, y'all have the nerve to get y'all ass in real life and on social media to demonize and degrade and attack and assault these broken and battered black boys that came from your vagina, that came from your penis, black man and black woman. You want to attack what you produce, food? That's a reflection on you. Ain't my son. I got my own kid, but still came from the black race. If he were being earning a PhD in biomedical sciences, every Negro on the planet would be claiming him. He came from the black community. Yeah, that's our boy. But since he did a drunken or a high or drugged out mass shooting spree, now you want to, no, that ain't my son. He ain't come for me. So you can't do that. You can't start with this delineation. I'm gonna get that right. It's that la. You can't begin to delineate when it's convenient for you. That's not how it works. I know there's some of them like, oh, I ain't claiming them. But he's just 3 years ago and now. Same old play. Grew up terrible in the black community. Black community's not bringing in black boys. Tell them they're special. Tell them they're wonderful. Tell them they're awesome. You're not doing that. Do you expect them to act like they give a damn about themselves when they grow up? But then those of you who pour every dime, every grant dollar, every nonprofit into girls, and they steal hoes. I knew he was going to ask that, Michael. What? I don't even care. You said, what you think the sentence should have been? I don't care. That's not my point. My point is us. They gave what they gave him, and let's move on. You pour all these resources into girls, and they still on the pole. They still on OnlyFans. They still on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, shaking their ass in booty shorts. And I hear you, brother. I wasn't getting smart with you. I was just saying, I apologize if that came across as me being a smart ass. I wasn't trying to do that. But really, I guess I'm making a bigger point. And I'm just, trying to not get distracted by, But, hit me up on Instagram. We can have a day, what's that, instant message? Send me your number, brother. We can talk more into this if you like. Look, so we're doing all this pouring into girls. Pouring all this into girls, and they still on OnlyFans. They still all on the videos fighting other girls. They still hate their hair. They're still fatter than all the other girls are racist. So you're pouring all this into girls, and this shit's still not working because the shit is out of order. You got to pour into the boys because it is it's the natural order thing, so saith the Lord. That the boys, y'all tell them this, they're the hunter-gatherers, protector, providers. But we treat boys like they're some kind of leprosy. If they can't push, pull, lift, or drag, we don't want shit else to do with them. It's not just the mothers, it's these so-called fathers. If he ain't, my boy plays football. If he ain't playing football, if he dare says, I want to do something other than sports, y'all don't shine favorably on them, dads. Y'all don't. And so what bothered me after hearing this sentence, and it bothered me then, how y'all, black people, how y'all join white folks into attacking black boys. Yeah, they're acting a goddamn fool, but you know what I will not do? Because, see, I understand racism, white supremacy. I don't care what you think, that liberal white folks aren't the same as conservative or Republican. They're the same. They both white. And they always come together and get on code when it's one of them being attacked. And a lot of us are too stupid to understand that. We hate our race. We hate our children. We hate ourselves so much that we don't even see the shit when it's done in our face. And to you multiculturalists, interracialists, intersectionist motherfuckers, it's not about race. You're a goddamn lie. The criminal justice system was set up based on race. Racism, white supremacy was created based on race. So share that shit with somebody else. I know better. The scholars have taught us this shit for 150 years, and we've ignored them, obviously. You get on social media, you hear, man, white folks going in, There's all kinds of animals and dogs and N-word, all kinds of stuff. And you got your black ass right there with them saying the same things. But what you didn't hear, black folks, see, I pay attention to everything. What you didn't hear white folks do, I'll give y'all 2 examples. Y'all know that fight that happened in Cincinnati? And they show a piece of the video, and all of a sudden, the usual suspect, those animals, innocent people were attacked. And Negroes got on there saying, well, ain't no reason to hit a woman. Black, they went too far, blah, blah, blah. And white folks are mad. Even the vice president, racist funk ass, got on there. Mr. Eyeliner, J.D. Vance. He got on there. Well, these thugs, and repeating the same old racist talking points about. Then when it came out that it was that cracker that threw the first punch, you didn't hear Fox News, you didn't hear J.D. Vance, you didn't hear you Negroes, we didn't hear none of y'all get on that and call him all kinds of animals and thug, and y'all see what I'm talking about? You get made a fool of every goddamn time. Let me show y'all something else. So, because there's certain things y'all pretend y'all don't see. A little black boy in Simi Valley, California. Ain't hardly no black folks there, but he was with all his little white friends. And he just had his ass beat by a mob. They referred to them, they didn't call him that, a mob of white kids, because he's with them with his little white friends. They beat his ass. But Fox News, I ain't hear no black folks. I ain't hear no white folks come out and call them animals and a mob and thugs. They didn't. Hell, it wasn't even hardly any coverage on it. Because a lot of you probably never heard about that, right? See, what I'm saying is, we're not above criticism when we're talking about each other, because, yeah. But don't ever join white folks in attacking no one else black. Don't ever do that. Because they're disingenuous. They'll join you and talk shit about your kids, about your men, about your girls, about the women in our race, but they will not participate in attacking when one of theirs behave in their natural savage way. Yeah, I said it. Because I get tired of us acting so stupid. Like here in Texas. White boys jumped the black dude. All of a sudden, every Negro and Negress. Well, he ain't have to bring no knife to school. He ain't have to do that. Come to find out, he ain't bring no knife. Well, we around there starting stuff. Come to find out, he's invited to the tent. Well, he attacked him. Come to find out, both of them was trying to jump him, and both of them damn near twice his size. You heard no Negro, no white folks come back and say, well, damn, I was wrong. They don't. I don't care how many white women you decide to marry and have babies with, brother. I don't care how many white men you decide to sleep with and have babies with, sister. In words of your favorite rapper, Jay-Z, you still nigga, fool. And so, as I saw the comments hurled towards him, I understand why we're upset. Because it's disappointing. But don't join white folks in attacking black people. Don't do that. They're disingenuous. Because they don't do the same and equal assault on when their people acting a fool. Let me tell y'all something else and how this media ain't shit. There was recently, and I'm going to take it back to this young man. See, I pay attention to everything. I don't say a lot about a lot of things because in my Aquarius mind, or maybe I'm such an introvert that I sit back and I listen to everything. While everybody else blah, blah, blah right off the bat, I said, no, let me wait a minute because some other shit to this. And guess what? Recently, white man went in and shot up a kid and shot up some adults in I think in a park, or I'm sure a mall in Florida, in South Florida. J.D. Vance didn't say a word. It was thugs, and white America didn't get all upset and called him an animal when they showed his picture white, and I ain't hear black folks say a word. But you know what the media did? That we act like it's not an excuse. We've been convinced it's not an excuse. The white media, now this son of a bitch shot a kid, shot a child, and as well as adults in his little mass shooting spree. The white media said, well, this opens up the conversation for mental illness. Well, I be damned. They set up his excuse in the get-go. But when it comes to this black boy, you motherfuckers saying, well, he knew what he was doing. He knew when he took them drugs. He knew what he was doing. You can't make this shit up. I've been an alcohol and drug counselor for 25 years in mental health. I work with what's called co-occurring disorders. When there was someone dually diagnosed, you're diagnosed with a mood disorder such as bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar 2, depression, then you throw in some anxiety and all that, as well as being addicted or you abuse a substance. That's called being dually diagnosed or suffering with a co-occurring disorder. Now, he could have been undiagnosed with something because this is what I teach my clients. It is up here that leads us to want to take something on the outside to change our mood and change our reality. That's how we're first introduced to alcohol and other drugs. Depression, anxiety. It could be a celebration. Oh, my 16th birthday or 21st birthday, or I graduated. It's always a reason, I guess, they'll lead us to taking a drink or anything else. Sometimes just curiosity. A lot of folks smoke crack out of curiosity and out of ego and arrogance. Shit ain't gonna happen to me. And bam. And I've always told my clients over the past 24, 25 years, no one in the history of drug consumption has ever decided to use a drug for the purpose of becoming an addict. Never. It has never happened, and it will never happen. We take stuff, we drink, we smoke, we snort, we bang, we do whatever to change our mood or alter our reality. Something as simple as, when I get off from work, I'll take a glass of wine just to, take the edge off. Okay. Next thing you know, you come home every evening drinking a bottle. The next thing you know, it turns into 2 bottles. Next thing you know, your ass hiding bottles. You ever seen that show on A&E called Intervention? You can see it on YouTube now. Oh, I love those shows. And so we really go hard. And it goes into a lot of information that we tend to ignore about the impact of self-hatred psychologically. Even the white media continues to fan that psychological training that's been done to black folks. This opens up a conversation for mental illness. But no one at Channel 5 in Memphis, no one at Channel 3, no one at 13, no one that was at 5, 3, 13, 24, 30, no one ever said in their commentary about this young man, well, this opened up the conversation for mental illness, the treatment, much needed treatment and resources for mental illness. Never. But when it comes to this white mass shooter, the national white media said it opens up the conversation for mental illness. No, and that just, again, black boys, black males are set up as the scapegoat in society, and I don't like that shit. People claim to be all these black male advocates. No. You're not. You're a liar. Because too many of them. It used to be one of few that slipped through the cracks, but we got a whole nation of black boys and black men disillusioned. And that's not a crack. They're falling through the Grand Canyon. They've been following Grand Canyon for the last 20 years. It's how the jails, the concepts of prisons and stuff, because they already got an automatic audience, a captive audience already ready to just be scooped up. Because they know in these homes and these black children not being born to healthy people. And I don't like it. And so I look at this as a case of, this young man, a victim of his circumstances, grows up to take victims because of his circumstances. And black people, business as usual. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. But you're not demanding of yourself, making any demands on yourself to make sure not only that the child in your house is good, but hell, your child got to come in contact with that kids like him. He's done for. And I'm tired of the large numbers of black boys being done for when they got fucking parents. Then I'm tired of these single women having multiple children by multiple men. Because that is an automatic setup that creates black young men like Ezekiel Kelly. That bothers me. It's bothered me. And I'm tired of this excuse about, people go, poverty and lack of education. I saw somebody say some stupid shit like that. Memphis, it's suffering from a lack of education and poverty. Let me help y'all out right now. First of all, the city of Memphis has... Let me see, Southwest Community College, University of Memphis, Rhodes College, Lemoyne College, hell, Vatterrock, if that's still there, it has tons of universities and colleges there, Christian Brothers. And it has quite a few trade schools. It has tons of middle schools, middle schools, junior high schools, trade schools, colleges. Even has an army. It has an army, Navy, Marine recruitment facility there. And then you have online education from all over the world. So please stop saying that stupid shit about Memphis lacks education. A lot of Memphis It doesn't lack it. It means these same folks who are dealing with poverty, that means they chose to walk past the education. And that's what your black leadership should be talking about. How the fuck y'all gonna ignore even a GED? You're gonna ignore an associate's degree, or ignore getting a trade, or ignore getting a community college, an associate's, or ignore getting a 4-year degree, ignore going to the military. All these goddamn options. They ain't gonna cry. Well, it's too many poor folks. Get out of here with that. If you're 18 and 35 years old, what the hell are you doing poor? If you don't have Down syndrome, you don't have multiple sclerosis, you're not 65 years or older and all of this, you don't have dementia, you don't have any of these things that prevent you from getting off your ass and training this to learn how to read, write, and talk, you full of shit. You deserve to be poor. Fuck you. But then your other options for being poor to go make victims of other people, no, we're not doing that. And then to the poor folks, the so-called, I said, why there's so many poor folks in 2025? This is not 1925. It's not even 1975. 2025, the highest of technology. All kinds of stuff going on. And y'all still, and black folks are still talking about well, what about the poor people? What about poor people? Yeah, there's too much going on for people to be poor. I don't blame the minors or the children because they got parents. And the parents supposed to make sure that the children aren't poor. So that means that you, with your broke ass, you right here laying on your broke ass, allowing somebody to get you pregnant, or you, sir, with your broke ass, sticking your raw penis in some broke pussy, and then y'all give birth to some broke ass black kids, living in a broke ass neighborhood, going to broke ass schools, and have to hang around other mentally broke ass people. Y'all see how that shit works? Stupid. You don't supposed to coddle them. You're supposed to, man, ugh. And no, I'm not rich. Hell, I'm not poor-minded. See, Dr. Ben Carson, just because he worked for President Trump when he was over housing, he said something that really pissed people off. He said, poverty is a mindset. And it is. I already addressed that question, Ellery. And so let me say to you when I said to the other person, I don't care. That's not my issue. My issue is what I'm talking about. You must just came on. I know when I put that damn on the end of it, made it seem like I was like, my damn was like, damn, that's a lot of time. Yeah. So I'm not, that's not my debate. That's not my conversation. My conversation is a little broader than that. But if you listen to the playback, you'll hear what I'm saying, what I'm talking about. Or you continue to stay on, you'll hear what I'm talking about. Right on. And yeah, so that's yeah. He got it. He earned it, and my conversation a little broader than that, 'cause that's the easy part. But yeah, because a lot of stuff is in our control, so we won't be able to produce another Ezekiel Kelly. And again, the article I just read, I wrote it 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago. And it seemed like people, I don't know, people don't understand. When we talk about these things in our community, we produce them. And in this poverty thing, I'm sick of hearing that. Unless you've been diagnosed with schizophrenia, you've been diagnosed with PTSD, and you can't, unless there's some kind of mental functioning really that prevents you from doing it, from being able to work. Why the hell we keep talking about poverty? Then you talking about old poor people. My question to you, old poor people, what the hell were you doing when you was young? Because while you're young, you're supposed to be making sure that in your future, when you become old, 70 and beyond, poverty won't be a part of who you are. Because I mean, when you were young, you were doing the fuck you were supposed to do. School, creating a business, using your brain to come up with ideas that made sure that if not generational wealth, at least something But when you got old, you can sit on the porch and not worry about no poverty. See, we do stuff backwards. We had all these scholars that have told us Dr. Claude Anderson is knocking down 90 years old, trying to talk to us about wealth building. Show us the easiest stuff. But we won't do it. Just won't. But then when we produce an Ezekiel Kelly, all of a sudden, oh Lord, these kids, oh my God, I'm going to pray for them. I'm going to pray for them. Or, oh Lord, these kids, they're out of control. They're your kids. Get out of here. And so it breaks my heart always when I see young men flip out. Because there's one who's worked with young men over the years, as well as young women over the years, you know, and knowing what they go through from these households and societal things, and they're not being covered like they're supposed to. You know, when you have parents, there's supposed to be an automatic covering. And I want to go back to the whole poverty thing. And when Dr. Ben Carson said, when he mentioned the poverty mindset, again, y'all just heard me from the beginning of this, how much I love my beloved North Memphis, 38108. And I came up under a single mother, different dads, all that kind of stuff. And I'm 56 years old. I came up when crack first hit our neighborhood, hit Memphis. I was at Cypress Junior High School. My God, it was something to see to go from playing football in the street in 84, 85. Yeah, about 85, 84, 85. Football in the street, Captain May I, Yes You May, and all that kind of stuff. Being a kid. All of a sudden, the next summer, you start seeing cars coming in your neighborhood. All of a sudden, you start seeing kids who went to school with you at Cypress, 14 years old, 15 years old, with stacks of 20s and 50s and 100s, stacks of cash. And then you start hearing about the murders. Because crack brought the money, but also brought the murders, and it brought destruction to what was black neighborhoods, black communities, till they were turned into drug-infested hoods. They brought violence and a heightened level of mental illness, thanks to the addiction that it brought in and crime. But I brought that up to say that my brother and I, with all that going on, we always went to work. And so when people get to talking about, I'm just a product of my environment, well, I guess based on that logic, I was supposed to, by the time I got to high school, I was supposed to have been pimping hoes and selling crack and all of that. At least selling weed. I was supposed to have been in a gang. I was supposed to have been all of that. So I don't buy into that bullshit. I just don't. I'm over it. I'm over it. Because I know there are tons of options up here. And I came up in domestic violence, watching dudes beat women's ass in my living room growing up. I'm in elementary school, punches to the face, screaming and all that. Disrupted Thanksgivings and disrupted Christmas, just nonsense. I used to think that the police only knew our address on some weekends. Always called our house, get that drunk ass, mean ass uncle of mine. Fighting everybody, cussing everybody out. The girls were bitches and dudes were bastards and the women were, it was terrible. But my mother, she would say, and I keep this with me and I'll continue to say it. I don't care if you were born and raised in a barn. You don't have to look nor act like an animal. My mother always said that. She didn't finish the 11th grade. We were on food stamps, welfare, and of course, when the girl my relative, female relative, my cousin, got pregnant at 16, 17, we got the WIC cereal, the milk, the cheese, and I got all of that in their house. A lot of us in their house. And I knew the dates of when who's that? Hold on, somebody wrote something. What's up, Donald? Let's say, brother. It says, yo, remember, mine's a terrible thing to waste. My mom is about your age, Uncle Rico. Uncle Rico? Okay. Uncle Rico, and she told me that all the time. Told us that all the times growing up. Values matter. Exactly. Exactly. They do. And even though I didn't have the best of clothes and all of that, but my mother, and I guess I'm like this today because I'm not materialistic. I don't place value on material things. I don't. I don't know the names of clothes. I don't know the name brand stuff. I just know when I go to Ross, Marshalls, maybe a TJ Maxx, if I'm even floating through Macy's, I need to see the red tags because it's still the same item. I just need it cheaper. And I've never lived based off a label. You know, when we teach our children, too many of us teach our children to value themselves based on a label of clothing, and you go broke trying to pay $400 for a purse, $230 for tennis shoes. You know, I didn't have a poverty mindset. I was poor, but I didn't have a poverty mindset because I understood that more I worked, and then when I went to work, I had in my head that I want to get out of my situation. That's why I sat at that big kitchen table in our kitchen. My grandmother had this big brown oval table that all of us sat at, dinner times or what have you. And I got the thick ass FAFSA form. It came in a thick booklet, and I got my number 2 pencil and just circle. It took me damn near an hour or so to fill out that shit. I just put 0 because I didn't have this, I didn't have that, none monetary. So. Yeah, Donald said, that's right, function and fitness over fashion. Exactly. And so, we keep saying people in the hood are poor and they're lacking this. Well, how the hell people in the hood get Jordans every time they come out? The new Jordans are $210. I've never paid $100 for a pair of tennis shoes. I rarely buy sneakers. I'll buy some shoes, some Sauconys or something to jog in. But as far as tennis shoes for fashion, I've never done that. It's crazy. Never got into that kind of stuff. And that's how I choose friends or people. I don't mess with people. Because materialism is material minded. And you can't think beyond your label. We ain't just going to be cool. And so we have to stop giving them a way to continue to be poor. What do you mean by that, Rico? Well, we put on social media. Oh, let me go back about the whole poverty thing. A lot of times people are poor is based on the poor choices that they make with the money that they do have. You understand? There are people, say black women with all this hair. They'll line up 500 for somebody giving away hair and fighting cuss and shit. Yeah, I've seen all that. I'm gonna talk about that mental health, that mental illness. And it just happened again in Mobile, Alabama. It just happened in Atlanta where that gay fat dude was like, yeah, we got bundles. Everybody come get a bundle. We got a bundle. We got giving away about 400 bundles. Come get you one. What's his name? James Wright, whatever it was. So the sisters came out there acting a fool. And then they just had some in Atlanta, Perimeter Mall or something in Atlanta. Sheen had some kind of opening, and sisters took off from work, and most of them didn't work to go there and catch that sale. And then another hair thing by this white Arab in Mobile, Alabama, somewhere. He did another, and sister, they showed up. It's just crazy. But they don't have those crowds at PTA meetings. And then they show up, these same folks show up for these backpack giveaways. We help them to maintain their poverty, if you will. I always said, do away with the damn backpack giveaways. It's stupid. Because those same folks y'all think y'all giving to, they walk past a Dollar Tree, they walk past a Dollar General or Family Dollar, they get book supplies for $1 all summer as they go to the movies, go to the restaurant. I'm not saying they can't, I'm just telling you, they spend their money on what they want, then they beg for what they need. And those of us who are working taxpayers, even we ain't hardly making no money, we need to cut the bullshit out. And little black kids got to suffer because their mother, and if there is a dad anywhere, putting them through that. Now her hair is always laid. He always got a new pair of sneakers, and he got his raw penis making another baby mama. See all these behaviors. All this I'm mentioning, that creates Ezekiel Kelly's. Young man decided, and according to what he said, I was in a dark place. We ignore everything when black boys talk about their mental health. We ignore all of that. I always look at what what he has done, and it's horrible. But we don't never pay attention to black boys and their mental health. You know how I know that black people don't like black children, especially black boys? And all the information that's come out when they go in the first grade or the fifth, up to first to third or fourth grade, all of a sudden the single mama is approached by the school administrators to put their child on medicine because he's a boy who's acting energetic. That's what boys do. They like to run, play, and they don't just sit down because they're not girls. And so they put them on drugs early just to get a check. So you trained your child to be a dependent on drugs so his mama can get the check. Mom, we gonna get our check. And so, but you're destroying his natural evolution of his his mind early, or maturation process of his mind. We do a lot of stuff to destroy black boys. Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu wrote 3 books, and rest in power, Dr. Kunjufu. He just passed away. Countering the conspiracy to destroy black boys. I guarantee you, none of these black folks that show up with these backpack things, they never read it. None of these black teachers that be complaining about these children, they ain't never read it either. There's another book called Kill Them Before They Grow by Michael Porter. I guarantee the principal at your school, at your child's school, the teacher, the counselor, none of them have read any of these books that these black kids go. That's what y'all need to be paying attention to. Who gives a damn about the psychological, the proper psychological and emotional maturation of my child, particularly black boys? And I'm gonna continue to emphasize black boys over girls because it's men that build and make sure everyone else is comfortable. Shout out to your grandfathers and your great-grandfathers who built your grandmama a house, who made sure you got a car for her, made sure you had a house for all y'all to stay in. Even when he passed on from working himself like a mule to make sure she didn't have to work. But then she'll live on with, he was old hard, man. We stayed together, but it's so many things. Shut up, hush. But he died breaking his back for you. And even though the system stopped the programs in the schools, that means we're supposed to stop teaching our sons how to cut yards. We're supposed to stop teaching our boys how to build a roof, how to construct a house, how to pour cement, how to do all the trades, how to weld. Because you know how to do it. How come you didn't still teach your boy? Because the school ain't teaching. That means they don't need to be taught. See how they trying to end black history in schools. They banning books in Florida. Who gives a fuck? So if they ain't gonna teach your child black history in public school, that means they ain't gonna learn at all? They got a mom and a daddy. Are y'all catching what I'm saying? We're full of shit. Y'all wondering why there's an Ezekiel Kelly being born every third weekend, every third month, or shit, every third weekend in our race, in our community. Because we full of shit. We don't like black children. Prove me wrong, goddammit. We don't. We especially don't like black boys. And y'all setting your girls up for failure. You need to be independent. You don't need no man. Okay, now she licking coochie and you ain't finna get no granddaughter, grandson. It's a mess. And I keep throwing books out there knowing you ain't gonna read it. Hey, but you'll read books about, black people do read. What do you? Well, what books? I guess it's based on what books you're reading. I believe in reading books that educate us on who we are so we'll know what to do. We don't. If you cared about black boys, you'll be reading books like Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys and Kill Them Before They Grow, or something simple like The Pact, written by those 3 black doctors. Something that teaches you so you can understand the importance of black boys. Books written by Dr. Naeem Akbar, Visions for Black Men and others. You'll be listening to what Dr. Amos Wilson tried to teach you back in the 60s and 70s about the white supremacist view of black boys, the natural. Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, I bet you maybe 5 black females, maybe 20 black females out of 15 million black women read Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. And all these women got sons. I bet you probably never heard of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and Dr. Julia Hare, the two premier scholars and researchers and presenters of the importance of Dr. Julia Hare, the black family, and educating the black child. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing talked about the black male and how he is targeted through its psychological and psychosexual, because of psychosexual envy of the dominant men of the dominant culture. You don't. I know what I'm talking right now. It's going to go over a lot of people's head. They don't give a shit. Don't care. You don't. And so when a Ezekiel Kelly is produced from our race, all of a sudden we act as stupid. Or we want to clam down on him and join white folks in attacking him. Get out of here. We should look in the mirror and be ashamed. Why so many Ezekiel Kellys being produced from the black race? It came in your household. Came out of your street. It came out of your church, black folks. So how'd you turn out to be like that? Why are so many of our young people turning to drugs? Why? Look, there are no official statistics that I'm bringing to you. I'm just telling you what a lot of us see. Every third black male child smokes weed damn near. And the girls are right there with them. Y'all know when you go up to the gas station, go to the corner store, go to anywhere, you see black men, they're full of weed. There's something there. There's an undiagnosed depression, undiagnosed bipolar disorder, undiagnosed some kind of childhood trauma there. When someone uses a substance every day because they don't want to feel, there is an undiagnosed mental illness there, or mood disorder. And when weed smokers is either depression or bipolar disorder. If you ever hear someone say, "Well, I smoke weed so I can stay calm," and all that, well, that's that high, it's that mania, and the depression and that mania, they're going back and forth. And weed has a substance in it that balances it out. But still, you want to walk around addicted, just like people on pills. Every day, you hopped up on some pill, be it a perk, be it a Valium, be it a Xanax or something. You mean you don't ever want to feel reality? You always want to be under the influence because it hurts too bad to be sober? You're so insecure, you're so self-loathing when you're sober. You're so ashamed of something or something that has happened in your past or present that you don't want to feel. The young man said, "I was in a dark place." No one ever asked him, "What's up, Mike C?" "Hey, Delnita, what's up, cuzzo?" No one ever asked him, "What do you mean by dark place? What was going on?" We never asked black boys, "Hey, man, what's going on?" I know it's pretty tough to approach a lot of them. But you know, when they get in jail or get in juvenile, you can ask those questions if you work in juvenile justice. I did an internship down in juvenile court back in, like, what was I, in undergrad? Like in 92, 93, something like that. And it's something, you just really talk to them when they don't have any distractions. Man, you get the truth. You get what's going on. If anyone were to, hey, news, local news in Memphis, maybe a YouTuber, going out and talk to this young man. What was that dark place that led you down a drug fueled, that led you down the path that to the point where you ended up in a mass shooting situation? What was that dark place, young brother? And have that interview and have him to tell it. So y'all show these in the schools and show them his spree, then show them the effects of drugs and untreated depression, untreated trauma, untreated anger, untreated feeling unwanted or neglect and abandonment. See, all that stuff plays a part in when you go that route, of drugs. I would love to interview the young brother. Just see, because when he said that in a dark place, I want to know. It's not going to lessen his 300 and some years sentence, but I want to know. He could be used as a perfect teaching model for not only for neglectful, funk-ass, neglectful parents or mothers, neglectful black community, black race, and for other young people in his age group, 12, 13, 14, up to 25 years old. Isn't it interesting? Y'all talk about it, but isn't it interesting that we look at statistics of 13 to 25 year that age group, 14 to 25-year-old black males are dying. We say, ooh, child, yeah, these black men are dying, but no, but it's not urgency though. You can't even have a black girl get missing when she skipped school to go be with her boyfriend for 3 days. Oh my God, they attacking black girls. Ooh, they snatching up all the black. We get a sense of urgency. But when it's black boys, and something is going on, we talk about, oh my God, I hope he's gonna be. I'm gonna pray for him. I hope he all right. Until y'all understand that our greatest commodity, the greatest commodity in any race, is the male child. To you religious biblical folks, when Pharaoh said, kill all the firstborn boys, male children, they ain't say kill the girls. In every scenario of every story that we've ever read or heard about in history, it's always said, kill the men, spare the women and children. Girls have always been put on priority because you know why they spare the women? Women can't whoop nobody's ass. They can't protect nothing. They can't do this. Y'all can keep on throwing out that shit. We had Queen Nzinga. We had the Woman King. No, that shit. Women can't protect nothing. Because when men buck up with their natural strength, they women getting their ass whooped and heads blown off. In every war, the women get kidnapped. And they done away with. They either kill them or send them on with plenty of bodies out there, say that, after they done ran through them in a kidnapping situation. So that's what I'm saying. And so y'all understand the system. The system is not about how powerful and strong women are. It's about making sure that that men in the race, particularly black men, continue to be pounded upon and attacked and targeted, so they'll never, ever be a force to be reckoned with other races of men, particularly white men. And I need black men to understand this shit. We don't. And Dr. John Henry Clark said it years ago to black people: we have no friends. But it's been proven over and over, time and time again. Black men, black boys, we have no friends. All we have is us. Until we understand that an Ezekiel Kelly will continue to be produced out of our race. Yes, there's a responsibility for all of us really take to grab some of these young brothers. Some of them going to have to go to jail about 3 years to get that, whatever that anger is, to get all that stuff treated so they can come out. And then the younger boys are being targeted, the 9 and 10, 11-year-old. Y'all saw them little boys. And here in Dallas, wearing pajamas, trying to run out of a Walgreens. And then another thing, if they can't kill them physically, they kill them psychologically. It's the same thing for those of you historians about the plantation experience of enslaved Africans in this country. Buck breaking, but that was a real thing. You emasculate and beat the biggest, strongest, toughest slave in front of his woman and the whole village of enslaved Africans. Now, it was also sexual buck breaking. They would rape them in front of their wives and daughters and sons. And that's what they're doing now. So no, we're going to kill them. We're not going to kill them just physically or have them to kill each other. But we're also going to rape the manhood out of them, literally. And we're going to do it through who? The woman. When I saw that movie, what's that damn movie? Well, I'm just going to say the story of Pocahontas. You know the story of Pocahontas? How they were able to come into that Indian village and slaughter everybody because of her and her lust for the white man. And they told her, look, don't be fooling with John Smith. But then she went on and said, no, but I love him. She let him in, and next thing you know, John said, left the gate open. But the rest, and said, oh, come on in. They came in and with their modernized weapons and slaughtered that Indian reservation. Y'all remember that? Well, that's black women. They're the Pocahontas of our race. So they go through the black woman to destroy black men because they know black men are loyal to her. Because she doesn't understand her power. She doesn't. And these black boys, these effeminate black boys, let's go back now to 1968, 1965, 64, when the feminist movement came and busted up the civil rights movement. When you look at the first pictures, black women are holding black men's hand and we're marching together for freedom. And then the white feminist Gloria Steinem came with her nonsense because she was in tour with her white man and told and convinced black women. Let's go back even when the days of Harriet Tubman with the suffrage movement. Back then. Now you done came all the way up from slavery. You done snuck all the way from the South to take your ass to Philadelphia to hook up with them white feminists. They said, ain't I a woman too? Begging for white male validation then. And the shit went on. Sister Shahrazad Ali teaches about this. I know the Essence Festival never have a black woman like Shahrazad Ali ever teaching at the Essence Festival, or Dr. Frances Cress Welsing or Dr. Julie Hare. They don't have black women like that coming to the Essence Festival. But those black women like black men. They understand the importance of having a black family structure. So they're never going to be to some feminist bullshit like the Essence. And I always wondered, all these black women meetups, they never have black women like these at their so-called sister empowerment things. Never. It's always the bought off and the corporate groomed and accepted black women like a Michelle Obama and people like that. So having said that, Sister Shahrazad Ali talks about, y'all women, y'all raising these effeminate boys. And so the feminists got y'all to say your man ain't ish. We don't need him. She was telling y'all they don't need the white man. But remember, the white woman's sleeping right next to that white slave owner. She inherited you from him. And she also enacted pain on the slaves when she didn't have her way. She beat the black women. And she would have the man killed if he didn't stick his penis in her pale vagina. Oh, y'all don't know about all this? And so I don't understand how this sisterhood with white women is so deep with these black chicks. Mammy was a real thing on the plantation too. So we got a lot of PhD'd and well-read black mammies today. Now, I think they call them Democrats. But anyway, I digress. So them little boys, those little boys that was in that Walgreens, zesty, a zest fest. First of all, 4-Eye Beats, just sassying it out. And come to the house, ain't no man at the house, another ignorant, his sister ignorant. Then they showed him again when he wasn't cussing, but in none but a house full of females, not a man in sight. You expect for these boys to be a Malcolm X or a Dr. King? You expect them to be masculine, women-loving, women-protecting men, and you raise them to be sassy girls like you, ma'am? And that's a lot of these boys. They're bitchy. They're psychosexually confused. They're angry. They don't have a dad. They all they have is a bunch of women in the household. And the women in the household treat the boys like little bitches. And then they come out here in society and enact their anger, their loss of fatherhood and masculinity out on society. Why do you think these black boys join these gangs? They want to, they feel hurt. Yeah, they're trying to find, been left to their own device to try to find what is natural to them, manhood, masculinity. And black women, they don't give a shit about that. As long as it's only masculinity a lot of these women like is their masculinity, their masculine stud girlfriend. Yeah, I said it. They don't give a shit But not all, but too many. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It goes on daily. And in the inner city, in the hood, these young men are just, they run around here just losers. A threat to only themselves and anyone who looks like them. And that sucks. In the black community, we do a lot of things to produce an Ezekiel Kelly. You know, we can talk about racism, white supremacy all the time, but y'all don't really care about it like that, because it ain't stopped you from going to the club. It ain't stopped you from having bastard kids out of wedlock when you're poor. It ain't stopped you from ladies from getting pregnant by gang members and dudes in jail and on probation. It ain't stopped y'all. Y'all don't give a shit about no racism, white supremacy. Because I don't think you know enough about it to even be saying it. Y'all let people dictate what it is. So, Lovely Tammy said a mentor is needed for these young men. Lovely Tammy, you know who that mentor is supposed to be? The man that got her pregnant. So, that's supposed to be her mentor right there. The young man's mentor, the man who got her pregnant. So it still come down to, baby, you ain't pick a man to get pregnant by. And so then you have these. And so when are we going to start focusing on black boys in Memphis and Dallas and Chicago? I mean, focus on them in a nurturing way, not just in a penal system way. When are we going to start liking black boys again? I mean, when is the black race going to start liking young black men? White race loves black boys. Loves the boys in their race. They're always lifting them up, making sure. The Mexican, they love the men in their race. Every group loves the men in their race except for the black race in America. I'll debate anybody on it. Give you prime examples. Where the money? Your black politicians sure don't like black men. They don't like black boys unless they're homosexuals or they belong to one of their fraternities or fraternities. But independent thinking black men that sound like Malcolm, that has a Marcus Garvey mindset, they don't like them. They don't want them in because they bought into the system and sold out. Their job is to wrangle for massa all the agreeable Negroes. Yeah, I said it. It's the truth. Because I'm going to make y'all ask, well, how did we get an Ezekiel Kelly? Why don't we listen to black boys when they're telling us, when we see their tears? Why don't we ask, well, what's going on, son? What's happening? I see young black men so fucked up. Let me tell you something. You got these Negroes who go into white neighborhoods. Y'all seen them on social media. They put on T-shirts that says free hugs in a white neighborhood. But you can't get that same Oreo little bastard to go to North Memphis, stand on the corner of Hollywood and Jackson, or stand up at Hyde Park, or hell, go to Whitehaven and stand up there at Raines and Elvis Presley and have on a T-shirt and a sign that says free hugs for nothing in the world. We're always trying to get the acceptance of white folks. And that's what's wrong. We don't pay attention. Lovely Tammy says, it's a cycle, continue to be passed on from generation to generation. It's sad. And possibly a curse unseen. Possibility. I hear you. That's what they do. But we don't see black men saying, hey, free hugs at the Cash Saver up there on Madison, or at the Kroger up there, or, we don't, in black neighborhoods, we don't see them saying free hugs. Or just saying, I love you because you're black. What do you mean? Because it don't matter. It does matter. They need to know. And you're right, Tammy. There should be more mentors. I just want to make that point, who the first mentor should be. Lovely Tammy, you're correct. We should be mentoring. Not to mentor them to get into sport or get into your fraternity, but mentoring them of who they are so they can have that independent mindset. They can go and pursue viable careers to make them feel confident and strong. And they need to be arrogant. They need to be alpha. They need to be men. That's how they train white men. White men train their sons. That's how white women push their sons. And they need to normalize being a man to these boys. We don't, because we allowed the liberal politics and liberal feminist white women who have husbands, by the way, to tell y'all that y'all don't need y'all man. And then you, sister, because of the dudes that you pick, you rain it down on your son because he looks just like the dude who you was in love with, gave him unprotected sex and volunteered to have his baby. So you treat him like shit. And then a lot of you don't let your daughters get 14 good enough before you start whoring them out. I saw a video on, and this little girl, she's probably, I give her, she might have been 18. But she on a little booty shorts and a little tight, and she was thrusting her vagina. It was a song on, but her mama sitting there unpacking something. They were in the hotel room, and she went to twerking, then she went to thrusting her coochie and the mama sitting right there. So wait a minute. So I looked at it, I said, wow. I said, hey, don't sexually objectify her. Don't sexualize her, because she's doing it herself. And it was a play on words. Women say, men always objectifying women and all that. No, they don't want you to do it. They want to do it. They want to be able to twerk in your face and you not say nothing. They want to be able to thrust their vagina in their booty shorts. You see that monkey print, and you're not supposed to react like you some kind of homosexual. And if you do react, oh my God, women aren't safe in any spaces. And she pushes her titties up even higher up under her chin. And they've convinced men that they're not even supposed, their penis not, let me tell you something how sick this is in America and in our country, in the black race. They have convinced young men with testosterone flowing through their bodies from 16 to 35 years old. They convinced them that their penis is not supposed to be hard when she has on booty shorts and that monkey hanging. He's not even supposed to react to that. Are y'all fucking kidding me? Shit. That's how messed up they got the minds of these young men. Your penis is not even supposed to get hard when you see that. They literally want you to be gay around them unless it's somebody that they're attracted to. This is crazy. I'm sometimes like, damn, I'm 56, I'm gonna be 60. But then I say, I'm glad I'm a Gen Xer. I'm glad I'm a Gen Xer. Cause this bullshit that these young men is born after 95, shit. But see, when I was coming up, women want whores. They didn't present whore. They were pretty girls. Now of course we had the little easy chicks, but even the easy chicks didn't wear coochie cutter booty shorts the way these little girls do in the 10th grade in school. But you're supposed to be so used to all of that, and you ain't supposed to move to it. You ain't supposed to, damn, look, mama, ooh, what's up? I think a lot of us were attracted because she was pretty. These girls don't hardly know that because they've been taught through this society. Now, show them black girls. They've been taught through society. He's supposed to look in her ass because all they do is, it's like they're being taught, baby, you make sure you walk backwards everywhere you go. You just walk backwards. Don't let them know how pretty your face is, or if you got a snatched waist. No, I don't care if you got a beer belly. Just walk backwards so he can always look at your booty. And that's what it is. You got aunties online turning her big arm ass around, taking pictures. The little girl in the first grade, she turning around, taking pictures. Y'all think this is a problem? It's weird. Here you got, she 18 to 25 years old, little booty shorts on and got the little tights, that monkey and booty fat and all that. Now, we not supposed to notice? Okay, we ain't supposed to sneak a peek? You must be crazy. Then the women coming into the gym dressed like complete OnlyFans whores. Workout gear, my ass. No modesty. But a man ain't supposed to almost drop the 25 weight looking at that monkey when she bent over. Ass crack. Vagina print everywhere. Oh, no. See, I'm a Gen X. We didn't play that. We know, damn, little mama, what's good? But we the perverts? Bitch, please. Get your sick ass out of this gym. And you sick parents, go and put some clothes on your daughters. Real clothes. Loose fitting a little bit. She ain't supposed to have no cute shape until she's 21. You know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all walk in the mall, daughter 16 years old, ass and all that, make sure she can have on loose shorts and all that. Well, you ain't supposed to be looking at her. Motherfucker, the world ain't built with, populated with Stevie Wonders. A lot of us got 20/20 vision. I know You ain't supposed to look and touch me. You an old man. Shut the fuck up. Stop being a pervert and be appropriate with your child. That's all. All this projection. You're the pervert, ma'am. You got your teenage daughter here in the booty shorts on, tight jeans, cutting a monkey up the middle, ass cupped up. No, ma'am. You're the pervert, and you're creating a perverted daughter. Because you're creating a delusional daughter. She gonna grow up thinking she can wear all this kind of naked stuff. And then nobody's supposed to look at her. You got the game wrong. See, one thing about me, I'm being an introverted brother and having his own mind, you can't change my mind about what I know is reality and what's real. I look at what I want to look at, pretty much say what I want to say, and I don't give a fuck what you think. But a lot of these young men, even on college campus, I taught at UT Arlington like 3 semesters, and I was breaking a sweat around there. I'm like, oh my goodness, these young ladies booty shorts and these little tops and tits push and then with backpacks on. Like, and so it took me about a week or 2 to get past it. So if I was sweating, it was because it's actually hot outside. But at first, I was getting sweat beads, looking at all that tenderness. Ooh. But after about a week or so going to class, I got used to it. I was observing how the young men. He said, Michael Craddock says a lot of these perverted mothers are living vicariously through their young daughters. Correct. They are. Nasty, sick-ass broads. You around here all fat and old or fat and 37. You ain't even old, just a fat and out-of-shape broad. But your daughter getting the shape that you probably had in the 9th grade. Your daughter got it. Instead of you really protecting her, teaching her about protection herself, because of her maturing body, no, you let her wear the little tight stuff. And let me tell you something, how sick these grown-ups are. When she was covered up, do you hear what I just said? Covered up with the painted on pants, the painted on tops. Still see her nipples, still see the imprint of her nipples, the imprint of her monkey, and a cup on her ass and little tight jeans and tight booty shorts. Everywhere, get out of here. See, when I was growing up, only white girls wore them little short shorts. When I was in Kingsbury elementary school, and they used to wear little tight short shorts. First time I ever saw a vagina print when I was like in the 6th grade. White girls, little cheeks out. I guess they pants can help be tight because they ain't have no booty. So I guess their vagina probably was poking out because they ain't have no ass. Then all of a sudden you start seeing black girls later on in the decades, around probably like the 90s. Because this was like the 80s when I was in elementary school. Going into junior high. And I was at this white high school, junior high, elementary middle school called Kingsbury. And that's why I was saying white girls were like, damn, she got a monkey on her. You know, I didn't notice none of that. Not around my black neighborhood, around black girls. But white girls always been like that. So we pick up the wrong things from white folks. We don't pick up the stuff that we need. And we don't pick up and black women, if y'all gonna continue to just volunteer to be single mothers and also giving birth to boys, why don't y'all copy what they do with their boys? You know, a lot of, and of course it's not perfect. We ain't talking about all that. But pick up the positive things that they do with their boys. You know, let them go to particular camps. Send them camping with mentors. Shit like that. Boys have to push, pull, lift, and drag to compete with that testosterone and then in the evolution of their minds as they grow into manhood. In African villages back when they had what's called a rites of passage for black boys. These black boys ain't going through no rites of passage. They got too much pussy around them in the household. They pass by too much pussy in the house. Mama, sister, auntie, cousin, female. So they ain't going through no rites of passage. Y'all hear what I'm saying? So, but anyway, when I heard that verdict and that young man come out, 327, 107, I'm like, man, god damn. And I beginning this, I read this article that I wrote 3 years ago. Going on 3 years. Next month will be 3 years ago. Because I wrote this September 9, 2022. And it still rings true today. If you didn't get a chance to hear me read this, if you like a copy of this, and I have other newsletters just like this. It's called In My Opinion by Rico the Opinionist. If you like a copy of it, any of them, just Cash App me, Venmo me, PayPal me, Rico, $RicoRiversMSW. I can send you 3 of them for $5. Please send me an email address. So, cause I don't want I just want to share these thoughts because it was on my mind, and I want to say one more last thing. Well, no, one more thing. One more thing, I swear. Because we do a lot of things to help to create these Ezekiel Kellys in our race. You know, yes, he went on that spree and killed those people. But I want us to also, those few physical bodies that he took, I want us to keep in mind the psychological murdering that's done on a daily basis of black children by these black rappers with the music they put out, the images they endorse and promote of murder and death and mayhem, and the children acting them out. You know, this false sense of masculinity, the female rappers pushing out hoe and tramp and thoughts and just irresponsible sexual behavior. You know, he unfortunately took out about, what, 2 or 3 people, whatever, that day. But what about the thousands mentally that these rappers and some of these R&B singers, what about the mental murdering that goes on? They murder thousands of kids on a daily or weekly basis with their music and their videos. And I need Black Memphis, stop inviting rappers to do story time at elementary schools. Stop doing that. Stop inviting rappers anywhere near children, because they are bought and paid for as Satanists, and they're employees of Satan. And y'all need to stop having them around black children. In the 1st to the 6th grade, y'all need to keep these folks out of these people's schools. Keep them out of the high schools. If they want to see these sons of bitches, let them go and pay a ticket somewhere to see them. But you so-called educators with your master's degrees, your EDDs and EDDS and principal certifications and all this shit, you're supposed to have all this goddamn sense. But you still allow the wolf into the hen house. Keep these bastards away from black children. And that'll really help this much in the non-production of an Ezekiel Elliott. Damn. Y'all be cool. It's your man Rico the Opinionist. I'm on here on Facebook and I'm on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. Talk to y'all later. Peace.